Hi everyone, Rabbi Miller from Keeping It Sacred. It's Hanukkah. What is Hanukkah? Hanukkah is the holiday that is called rededication. Hanukkah means rededication. What are we rededicating? We're remembering that our temple was once defiled and the Maccabees, led by Judah, reconquered the temple and was able to rededicate it to our God. Now that is the militaristic answer for what is Hanukkah, which is found in the Talmud, which says Ma'eh Hanukkah, which is Aramaic for what is Hanukkah. That is only one answer. Another answer is that it's a holiday that lasts for 8 nights, starting on the 25th. And that is the calendaric answer. We have the historical answer. There's also a spiritual answer. If someone asks you, Ma'eh Hanukkah, what is Hanukkah? You can also answer, according to the Talmud, that it is the day of miracles, where God made a great miracle, where there was only one kosher vial of oil to be lit for the lamp in the temple. And it was only supposed to last for 1 night, but instead it lasted 8 nights. So it's a great miracle. It's a reminder, as Bachya ibn Pakuda said in the 1500s in Spain. He said, a little bit of light can dispel a lot of darkness. So we think about tonight as the solstice is coming, the longest night is fast approaching. We remember how good it is when we can kindle even a little bit of light, a little bit of that hope in our lives, and how that can spread far and wide and bring hope and joy to so many. And so here we are today, lifting up all of these ideas, as well as the fourth explanation as stated by the Talmud, which says it's a day to not fast, and it's a day to not be sorry, but it's a day of rejoicing. We're rejoicing at being reunited with God, or some might say reunited with our tradition. I hope that many of you who are exploring our tradition, who might have been far away from it for a while, feel some empowerment in knowing these things, and that together we can continue to be prideful and joyful with the tradition that was handed down to us. I would be remiss to not mention a few other things. Some of the symbols of Hanukkah include the jelly donuts. Believe it or not, we eat donuts and latkes. And why? Because these are foods made with oil, and oil is what we're celebrating, that little cruise of oil. So we remember those kinds of things. And cheese is also something that we eat at this holiday. Some of you might think, what? We eat that on Shavuot. But yes, we also eat that on Hanukkah. Why? Because there's a little known story about Judith, although it is in the book of Judith, which is part of something called the Apocrypha, which is not our sacred literature, but it is a record of stories that are ancient, that are around this time, and that is in existence. And you can look it up, but the entire book of Judith is incredible. It recounts this story about Holofernes. That's this guy's name. He's a general in the Assyrian army, and he was one of the people who was working for Antiochus, who was the one who defiled the temple. And, we always talk about Judah and the Maccabees overcoming this great Assyrian army, but guess what? They had some help. Judith actually met Holofernes, and he took a liking to her, and she was a Jewish woman, and she realized that she could use this opportunity. So she decided to invite him to a party, of all things, gave him a ton of cheese. Why? Because it's very salty. And this is why we eat it on Hanukkah. It's very salty, which makes you thirsty. And back then, what kind of things did you drink? Beer and wine. And so if he would be thirsty, he would drink a lot of beer and wine. So sure enough, he went to the party, he ate a lot of cheese, he had a lot of beer and wine, he passed out, and she decapitated him. That's right, Judith in the story decapitated the Assyrian general named Holofernes, thus confusing his troops, scaring fear into their hearts, and thus Judah and the Maccabees would be able to rededicate the temple and reconquer the temple so that it could be rededicated to God. So that is your little known Hanukkah story there. I'd like to also share with you just one note about the Hanukiah. This is called a Hanukiah because it has 8 chambers for candles and a 9th one. This is called the Shamas in Yiddish, or Shamash in Hebrew. This is known as the helper candle. So what we do is we fill the candles from right to left, but when we light them from left to right. So just note that. The rabbis also asked, which way should we fill this candle, this candelabra, this Hanukiah? A menorah, by the way, is just 7 lights plus a shamash, but a Hanukiah is 9. So which way should we fill this Hanukiah? We should fill this Hanukiah, says Rabbi Shammai of about 2,000 years ago. Shammai says, well, of course, we should fill all 9 candles the first night and then take one away each successive night, realizing that the light still was burning, but it was diminishing with each passing day. Rabbi Hillel says, no, we should actually light the first candle the first night, the 2 candles the second night, 3 the next, all the way till we get across to be 8 full nights. So on the 8th night, it's a full flame candelabra, a fully aflame Hanukiah. And the rabbis thought about this, and they decided that indeed Rabbi Hillel was right. Why was he right? This is the most interesting part. He was right because they say that the Jewish people only increases the light in the world. We never diminish it. So with each passing day, our hopes and our dreams for the new year, the new secular year, and just in general, our days get stronger and brighter. Just like way back on Rosh Hashanah, we celebrate Rosh Hashanah on a new moon, not on a full moon, but just to remind us of the potential that is yet to come. So too on Hanukkah, we light one candle and then the next and then the next, so forth, so that we can remember the brightness and the light that is yet to come, that we have yet to celebrate. And finally, you might wonder, why 8 nights? Why do we have Hanukkah for 8 nights? Aside from the fact that the story, the legend as I call it, tells us that the light burned for 8 nights. Coincidentally, 8 nights is how long a ceremony of dedication or rededication of a temple would take. So again, it reminds us to tie into that idea of rededicating ourselves to the temple, reconnecting with God, reconnecting with who we are on the inside as people, as reconnecting to our purpose in life. And together, may we be inspired by Hanukkah to do all of these amazing things. I'll tell you one more thing, just because it's fun. The dreidel, you might wonder about the dreidel. The dreidel is the spinning top that has 4 letters on it. Those 4 letters are represent the phrase, actually, Nes Gadol Haya Sham. So it's Nun Gimel Shin, Hey, then Shin. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. And that means a great miracle happened there. It was a way to retell this story and tell it again and again. There was a time when the various ruling leaders would say that it is forbidden to teach Judaism, forbidden to teach the Torah and the stories of our people, the Agadot, the holy stories of our people. It would be outlawed. And so the dreidel was a clever way to show any guards who would be passing by young children spinning a top. They would say, oh, we're just playing a game. But actually, this game reminded them to say, Nes Gadol Haya Sham, a great miracle happened there. So the kids would ask, what miracle happened where? What made it great? All of those questions. And then the teaching would begin. It helps spark our oral tradition, which is what this is. So in Israel, the letters on the dreidel are actually not Nun Gimel Hey Shin, but Nun Gimel Hey Pei. Pei, the letter stands for the word po, which means here. So the children in Israel play with dreidels that say Nes Gadol Haya Po, which means a great miracle happened here. So with that, I want to share a very happy Hanukkah to all of you, no matter how you spell it, CH or H or 2 Ks or two N's or one K or one N with an H at the end or not. Any way you spell it, I wish you a very happy Hanukkah season. May you be reconnected with all that brings you light and joy in the world in the days and weeks and months and years to come. Amen. Thanks everyone for keeping it sacred.